and welcome back to Tech Tips, Fixes and More. I'm Ron, and today we have something a little different again. I guess I say that every time. This particular project is a game. It's actually a laser tag game, and there are several of the guns and detectors that apparently are faulty. These belong to our church, and my granddaughter leads a outreach program to inner city youth there, and she uses these games with the kids to have a lot of fun tearing around. The guns make the usual crazy sounds as they shoot at each other, and so I guess they have a great time with it. But apparently several of these devices have quit working. Some of them, there's just no sound. Some of them, they don't detect when the person shoots them. They're called Laser X. And this is the actual gun. This is the detector, and they strap that on, and then they run around and shoot at each other. And the way this thing works, this one I think is working correctly. So this receiver device has got a switch on the bottom, and it's got a 4-position switch, a little sliding switch. And in the first position it puts you on one team, in the second position it puts you on a different team, and in the third position apparently it's you're not on either team, and I'm not quite sure how that's used in the actual game. But so when you turn it on and you go to play, you first of all have to charge the thing or load the thing, and you pull this back and you hear a sound, and then after that you can fire the thing, and I think you have 10 shots before you run out of ammunition, and then you have to load it again before you can shoot again. If your detector picks up the infrared signal, I think you can be shot a certain number of times. I think after about 3 shots that are detected, this light turns yellow, and after about 6 or 7 it turns red, and then it kind of shuts you down, so then you have been killed in this game. So just by playing around with it a little bit, that's what I kind of have come to the conclusion about. I have taken a look at one of them, and I've got a whole box full of more of them over here, and so we'll take a look at them all and see if we can get them working for her. So I looked through the box of these guns, and several of them, they've been labeled silent, and several others have been labeled can't die. So I'm going to look at the silent ones, because I've already fixed one of the silent ones, and all the problem was a broken wire to the little speaker that puts out the sounds. Light is coming on, it's pulsating, and no sound whatsoever. Now the problem with an inexpensive game like this is that they don't build these things to be fixed. They're fairly robust, but they're all glued together. And I did take some time and went online to see if anybody had fixed some of these in the past, and there didn't seem to be anything that I could find on a quick search. So basically, I was on my own. I decided that I needed to open up where this little speaker here is in the back end. It's not getting to the speaker, so I thought I would start there. And on the first one I worked on, it actually had a broken wire to that little speaker that's in behind there. But the trick is to get this thing open. It is built in 2 halves, and the 2 halves are basically glued together. And so how do you do that without wrecking? I mean, if the thing doesn't work, then it's no good to you anyway. So you have to take a chance and possibly wreck it in the process of trying to fix it. What I came up with was a little saw blade for my Dremel tool, And in the end it actually worked fairly good, so that's what I'm going to do with this one. See if I can't get at least this back end open. So I'll start by turning this thing off. We don't need that on while we're working on it. And then I'm going to open up the battery compartment. And I'll take out at least this first battery. Looking closely at it, you can see the seam. The battery compartment is separate, and there's a seam here that goes up around here, and that seam, I spent some time trying to just pop it open, and it doesn't appear to be just your typical plastic latches that can be popped. So in the end, I decided that I would use my Dremel tool, and I've got this little blade here that I wasn't sure whether this thing actually was very useful, but once I got it on and tight and rotating the right way so that it cut properly, I was actually fairly surprised at how well this thing cut. And of course, we are just working on plastic, so just see if I can do the same thing on this one that I did on the other. Of course, with this plastic, it gets hot and melts. So you've got to be a little careful. Now let's just see if that's enough. I'm going to trim off the plastic. I'll see if I can get something in there and just kind of break it free. There. And you can see that with a little care, you can, it doesn't do too much damage, and I think that I'll be able to put it back together and put some glue or silicone or something in there later. To kind of cosmetically improve the situation. This little speaker, you got to be really careful with it. It's nothing too heavy duty, and as you're cutting around that corner, it would be quite easy actually to cut right into the speaker. But it's a little self-contained unit in a plastic case of its own, which helps. There we go. So I've managed to break it free. And there it is. There's the cover for the speaker. You can see the little plastic, clear plastic diaphragm, and there's a back cover for the speaker. And let's see if I can zoom in and show you what I've discovered already. Notice that you can see the wire is broken off the speaker. I don't know why they break off. There shouldn't be any pressure on them that I know of. But there it is. That wire has been broken off the speaker terminal, and I believe that's all that's wrong with it. So I'm going to see if I can just get it out where I can resolder. lot of extra wire to work with. I'm going to try and hold this steady because the wire inside there is really not long enough. I'm going to have to hold it while I desolder that speaker and then maybe extend those wires just so that I can connect them up properly. This old vise, which I bought about 40 years ago, has been extremely handy. It's not a perfect solution to everything, but it allows me to hold things in place while I work on it. Two little terminals to solder onto on the side. Got to be really careful with this old voice coil and the plastic cone diaphragm. But I'll set that aside for a moment. See if I can't do something with these wires. Another handy tool is these forceps. I've got some straight ones. I think that's the term for those. There's I've got straight ones and I've got bent ones, I guess you could call them. Put a little bit of solder flux on. This is a solid core wire wrap wire. I'm not sure what the gauge is. Pretty light. And solid core wire is not always the best way to go, obviously, but this isn't going to be moving. It's light gauge and it should work fine for what I'm going to do. This wire, I don't know if anybody does wire wrap anymore. I used to do it a bit back in the old days, and this is the little stripper that comes with it, and it's pretty handy of stripping that wire. I'm just melting the plastic a little bit on the very edges just to tack that piece together. That holds the cap and the front of that speaker in place. Okay, before I actually put it back together, I think I'll do a quick test just to make sure I do have sound. Yep, seems to be working. Alright, once more, make sure I didn't break anything and putting it together. So I've actually fixed 4 or 5 of them where there was just a wire off that goes to this little speaker in the back. So I have 2 more to fix here, and these last 2, they have tape on them that says they can't die. And what that really means is that they light up, they have sound, but when they're shot by another one of these guns, they're supposed to be able to absorb, I don't know, it's something like 10 shots. And then the light in here will turn from green to yellow to red. And when they have been shot with them red a couple of times, then they just shut themselves down. Well, these last 2, they turn on, the sound comes on, the light lights up, and they get green here. But when you shoot at them, the light never does turn to yellow or red, and they never do shut down. So I'm going to guess that it might have something to do with the infrared detector here. It maybe just isn't detecting the shots at them. So I'm going to open them up. And so I've taken the first 4 screws out, and this is just the LED that's green, yellow, and red. The cover comes off. I believe there's 2 more screws I have to take out. Okay, so there's a little board on here. And down here we have the infrared detector. It's not a very good soldering job on it, but it appears to be connected anyways. The switch is here. I'm going to turn it on here. There's our green LED. I'm going to turn on another one, a good gun. Just double check it with it apart. If it had a bad connection or something, it might start working all of a sudden. It seems to be detecting now, and I don't know if you can see that in the video, but it's changing color. Yeah, it actually worked, and see now it's dead. So it actually is working. So that makes you think that there's probably just a bad connection there somewhere. Those solder joints, they could be cold. There's also the joints down on the board here. And it might be the switch. That switch is kind of, just barely touch it, it's kind of fading in and out. That seems like a likely suspect. Well, it's working right now. So I have 4 of these guns that I have split open on the edges, and I need to glue them back together now before I call this complete. So I guess that's pretty much it for this one. Out of 7 of these Laser X guns that I got, one was working, and they'd sent it to me working so that I could use it as an example. 2 of them had problems which didn't really show up, or at least one of them showed up a bit, and then just kind of cleaning things up, resoldering some joints seemed to fix the problems. And I had 4 of them where I had to pop them open and resolder a wire on a little speaker inside there, and then glue them back together. So that pretty much takes care of it. So thanks for joining me on this one. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a like, and hope you guys will all subscribe. I'm always happy to get comments, and so we have some other videos in the works coming up pretty soon here. And it's also coming up on Christmas, so to all my viewers, which seem to be growing somewhat every week, I'd like to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and all the best, and we'll see you on the next one.